Let's talk about the requirement for your homework assignment this week. This week, we will revisit our DVC schedule again. But here, since we have the associative array now, we will use associative array for the duplicate check instead of using the dynamic array. For the part 1, still is your test driver. So in your test driver, please make sure you will test one primitive data type, and the second one, you need to make sure you check the string data type. A little different is this time, you need to make sure you test your header file correctly, but no test driver need to be submitted. So this time is because I think you guys have many experience to write the test driver now. So I believe you will do the good testing on your header file. So I just want you to do by yourself, but you don't need to submit any test driver. The second part is your DVC scheduling. That's our third version. So we were using associative array instead of dynamic array or static array. So the first thing, you still need to pass in the duplicate check. So after the duplicate check, you still need to have the duplicate section number display. Then only the non-duplicate section, we will check the subject code. But addition to the subject code, your output for each subject, for example, ADJUS, before in V1, V2, we display the total section for each subject. But in V3, instead of you need to list all different subjects, but I don't need the total section for each subject. Instead, you need to show me each courses, how many sections. So here, for example, we have 16 courses from ADJUS department. So then you need to display total, they have 16 courses. So they are still in the alphabetic order. For the subject code, you need to display in the alphabetic order. And also your subject courses, they need to go according to the alphabetic order. You need to do the ascending order. And each courses, they need to display on how many section number. Okay, so before I talk about the algorithm, let me show you the sample output. So that's actually the test run. So the test run duplicate check actually is not too bad, right? So within the few seconds for the i5 computer, you should within few seconds. So your duplicate check is 2940 section. So this one later I will show you. We will using the second approach. Even we use the associative array, but we do the two-dimensional associative array. So later, I will according to the runtime to explain why we need to do this approach. So because during the duplicate check, we do the turn first, then subject code. So that's why you need to have a two-dimensional associative array. So after your duplicate check, you need to have each non-duplicate section into different subject code. So that's why earlier I said actually your output will be quite big. So your subject will according to the alphabetic order. And also each subject, they need to display how many courses. And for each courses, they have the alphabetic order for the total section for each courses. So actually your output is really big because we have over 100 subject code. So each subject code, they may have dozen to maybe about 100 courses for each different or few dozen courses for each subject. Okay, so that's your output. Okay, so why I need you to do this one for the subject? Actually, after I explain the algorithm, you will see our duplicate check is quite easy. So we see how we will do the duplicate check. Okay, so if you remember, we go over, did you remember in assignment 5, we only have dynamic array and the static array can use. In assignment 5, we create a 2-dimensional dynamic array. So actually we create one struct. This struct we call the term for section. So this struct is to save all section in one term. So this term can be, for example, for 2019. So because for each term is an object, so our dynamic array actually is a term for the object. But inside this object, you have another dynamic array to list all the sections. So that's our assignment 5. So this assignment 5, we do is we find term first. So like for 2019, then section. So that's our approach for our assignment 5. So you remember that, right? Okay, so actually in your assignment 10, I want you to use the same approach. Okay, so one thing is that's find term first, then check section. However, before, when we need the term of section object, it's because we only have dynamic array. For all the array, you see, we need to have the number of section to keep checking on how many section available in this term. On the other hand, this also is the index we want to assign the new section into our array. But now, do you remember, actually you have your associative array now. Since you have your associative array, can I have an associative array I call already seen? So actually I will have 2-dimensional associative array. So when I want to compare one section, they are duplicate or not, I just need to specify the term, right? Because I have the term. In associative array, we can have your key is any data type. So I can using the term to find, do I have this term or not? So then if I have this term, right, so then I give them the section number. For example, the section number is 36066. So we can say that's int, but since we all read parsing in string, so we're just using the string. So if this associative array, the same term and the same section is true, so I know that's the duplicate. Right? So your duplication actually just a couple lines. So here, that's our definition for our 2-dimensional associative array. You have your first dimension, the string is your key. So that's the term. So then for this term, right, for this semester, actually each semester they have another associative array. The key is string because that's a section. The value is what? A bool value. So that's why after I declare this associative array, okay, so after I declare this associative array for duplicate check, so when I do the duplication, I just need to do what? I just need to do this, okay? If the already seen is like this, actually that's the duplicate. Otherwise, we add that term. So actually we should do the other way. We should do, if I don't have this section, okay? So if this section is false, then I will assign. So that's what I mean, my new section. So here, one thing is I provide the value, but actually after the parsing, did you remember your parsing, you have your term value. Okay, but here I just want to show you how they look like. So actually is here, when you do your already seen, when you do your if statement, okay, when you call this already seen associative array, you just need to pass in the term you're parsing. So then the section number you're parsing, okay? So then after you have the key, the first key and the second key, so then they will return a bool value. So if this one is false, okay, because one thing is, remember when we have our associative array we implement, if I try to find the key in my square bracket, when the key is not exist, so then they will create the new key and assign the default value. So the same thing, when I have this term, I may have this term, I don't have this term, but doesn't matter. After the square bracket, this term will be created. So the same thing, the section. So if this section is new, I never have that. So the key will create this section. So then the default value will be what? The first time we access that, there will be false. So that's why here, if I didn't find this term, so actually, right, so then I just need to do is what? If this term not exist, so then I just need to make this term and this section equal to true. Okay, so else, okay, else you do the duplicate plus plus. Okay, so of course here you need to check. So because you duplicate plus plus, you need to see. So this one actually duplicate plus plus. You also can right away do what? Because it's the duplicate section. So then I don't need to go to the subject count. So that's why here you can break from. Continue. So you can continue from your while loop. Okay. So actually, right, your duplicate check is just this 4 lines. Okay, so your associative array actually just few lines. They make your duplicate check finish. The same thing. Remember, after your duplicate check, if not duplicate, right, so the next one we need to add the subject code. So since I want you to do the subject code and the course separately, so that's why here, the same thing. When you want to create your subject code, so they are another associative array, another 2-dimensional associative array. You see the first one string is your subject code, like COMSC, COMSC. So under the COMSC, I have different courses. So then the second associative array, the key is the course name. For example, COMSC210. So then the int means how many section in this course name. So now after you do this one, right? Okay, so after we declare this 2-dimensional array, so now can you tell me how should I add this subject code? If I have subject code and the course name, how should I add that into my count? Okay, actually, right, it's pretty easy. You just need to do what? You just have your associative array name count. So then your first dimension is what? Subject code. Like we say, COMSC. So then the second one is what? Your course, right? The course name like COMSC210. So after I find the subject code on the COMSC, then COMSC210, I need to increment one section. Then, yeah, you see that's everything you did from your assignment 5. Assignment 5, you maybe have a long list how you will do your 2-dimensional array to do the DVC scheduling. But in assignment 10, when we do the duplicate check and your subject count, you finish within this few lines. Okay, so each video I only can record for 15 minutes. So then we will talk about in the other one, how should we display the subject code. Okay, write down any question you have. If you kind of still confused, we can talk about on Thursday Zoom meeting.